So I would say fear. And that's anything in most of our lives is fear holds us back from our dreams because we don't realize that once we let that fear go away, we can achieve so many things and we can become so more elevated than we already are because we're giving up the fear. So we're not giving into it and holding ourselves back. We're giving it up to whoever, higher powers, the world, the universe, whatever you want to give it up to, and stepping outside of our comfort zone and growing.
Welcome to the Wear, Wag, Repeat podcast. I'm Tori Mystic. As a dog mom lifestyle expert, blogger, and business owner, I love talking to other women in the pet industry and sharing their advice with you every week. Sit, stay, and listen to the latest episode. In this episode, I am talking to Jessica Abernathy, who is a pet sitting industry expert and current president of the National Association of Professional Pet Sitters, also known as NAPS. Jessica has a ton of great stories to share about getting started as a pet sitter, and she tells me what she wishes she did differently from the beginning. One thing she wishes she knew about sooner is NAPS. I was so interested to hear about the wealth of info and resources they offer to their members, including certification for pet sitters and also a pet parent membership level. Jessica also talks about the number one thing that prevents most people from growing their pet industry business. It might not be what you think it is. Listen to find out. Before we get started, though, I have a question for you. Do you get my weekly podcast emails? I send emails every Wednesday about that week's new episode. When there are relevant links and bonus materials, those go in the emails too. It's the best way to stay updated on the show and continue growing your pet-inspired dreams. Get on the list at wearwagrepeat.com/podcast.
Jessica Abernathy is the original pet sitter in the greater Chicago area, caring for all pets, big and small, like they are her own. Before starting her pet sitting business in 2008, Jessica was the owner of a successful hair salon in Chicago. Every so often, a client would ask her to watch their pets over long weekends. Those requests became more frequent, and before she knew it, Jessica's entrepreneurial spirit kicked in and Professional Pet Sitters, Inc. was formed. Jessica is a big proponent of continued education in the pet industry and is often appearing on podcasts like this or local and national programming. In 2012, Jessica joined the National Association of Professional Pet Sitters, also known as NAPS, and is now their current president. Her mission is to educate pet sitters to fortify professionalism in the pet sitting industry. The love of Jessica's life is her dog, Teddy, a rescue who has a big social media following for himself. Welcome, Jessica.
Hi, thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to have you on here. We said right before we started recording that we feel like we've known each other for years, but we've never really met.
But we know each other well.
Yes, we know everything about each other, but we've never met.
Okay. That's the beauty of the social media. You can see people and not get in trouble for it.
I know. It's like a free game for stalking. But in a good way, in the best possible way, business stalking. So tell us a little bit, some things I did not know about you are that you used to have a career in the airline industry, that you owned a beauty salon, that you have done all kinds of different things. So tell us, if you don't mind, a little bit about your life before pet sitting and, how things have changed since you got into the world of pets.
So I started, my first career was in the airlines. I worked at customer service, that young lady that you come up when you have your bags and you're ready to go on your trip. I was that young lady where I worked at the gates, got you on the airplanes. I did that. I worked my way up into management. I was a flight attendant for about a year and a half while I was a manager at the airlines that I was working with. And I loved it. It was a fun career. It was something I wanted to do because I wanted to travel in my 20s. And I had a great life in my 20s. I traveled everywhere and had a good time. But I got laid off, just due to circumstances. And I knew I was going to get laid off. So I was trying to think of something else to do. And I went to beauty school while I was still working for the airlines. And I got my nail license. So I'm a licensed nail tech. Still am. I haven't done it in a couple of years, but I still am. So I did that I started in 98 as a nail tech, and I sold the salon in 2011. So I did that for quite a few years, and I loved it. I loved doing it. I loved the gossiping. I loved the chit chatting with the people. And my clients started asking me to take care of their animals. And so I started doing that on the side. And I did that for probably 5 years before I formed my business. And I realized that I could make more money in the pet industry and there's less complaints, so very seldom does Fido complain about the fact that we went for a 19-minute walk versus a 21-minute walk. Okay. Whereas, if the right shade of red didn't go on their nails, I had to repaint them in the right shade. So I started that just a little bit on my own, and I liked it and I really enjoyed it. And after about 5 years, I realized that I wanted to make the transition and leave the beauty industry and start into the pet industry. And I opened up officially professional pet sitters after that. And
Awesome.
I love doing it.
Well, it's funny that you worked in the travel industry and the airline industry so you could travel and go on all these trips and do fun things. And then you became the person who helped the people who were going on the trips. So it's very full circle.
It is. It's like I've worked in every aspect of it pretty much. So
yeah. And I'm sure all of that customer service and dealing with people at the airport who are frustrated comes in very handy with working with pet parents.
It does. I can honestly say I've been cussed out in every language possible. I mean, I didn't know that there were swear words that began with a Z, but there are. So, but working with people and trying to make people understand, like, I'm sorry but if the pilots don't want to fly in the bad weather, you don't either, like trying to communicate. So my communication skills were improved on. My customer service skills were completely improved on because that's all you do is deal with customer service there at the airline. So that helped out a lot. And I'm a caretaker. I like taking care of people. So it just was the next step moving into the pet industry.
Yeah. So it seems like they're all totally not related, but when you talk about it, there is a common thread.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there is. It's people traveling, people taking care of your home life while they are traveling. And it's customer service is something that in the last, I'll say 5-6 years has gone away. And those of us that are in business for ourselves and show a bit of customer service and show our customers some kind of compassion are going to go further than people that don't. Stay in touch with your customers is huge, especially after this wonderful year we had last year, 2020, where, none of us got to see anybody for, 18 months or 15 months. I think it's been now that we haven't been able to really do anything with anybody, but staying in touch with your customers and just showing them customer service, even when they're not using you, takes you a long way. And that's something that, we talk with our students, because I do business coaching now too. And that's something we talk with our students, that you have to stay in touch and you got to show that you care and just the basic customer service needs.
Yeah, I love that you point out, keeping in touch with them and serving them even when they're not actively purchasing something from you, because it's all about that relationship. And when they do need something or someone, they'll think of you.
Exactly. That's why you want to stay in touch with them. I mean, they're not necessarily always a dollar figure. They are humans. Their pets become your part of your family. Everybody in my company, a lot of them refer to me as Auntie Jess. So, there'll be a note like, "Hi, Auntie Jess, we're so glad that you stopped by." Or one of my sitters that work for me, "Auntie Gwen's coming to visit today," and they get super excited. So we become family with these folks. And this last year has been rough on us because we haven't seen our family members that we consider family, but we've stayed in touch so that they know that we still love and care.
Yeah. Wonderful. So I want to kind of ask you a question now about when you first got started in pet sitting, because, you said that you started it on the side and it just kind of organically grew. And that's kind of similar for my business and my blog. I started it just as a hobby on the side and it organically grew. And if I had started it intentionally to be a business, I would have done things a lot differently. So what would you have maybe done differently, or what do you wish you knew when you were first starting doing this on the side?
I wish I would have started it as a business and not as a side hobby. You know what I mean? I wish I would have done that. I wish I would have found NAPS sooner, so that way I could work on my education. I'm really big on staying educated. Even in my other job in the beauty industry, I did all the education. I took the classes, and, like if something new came out, I was, signing up right away to be in the class to learn about it and keep myself on top of everything. I do that with NAPS. You know what I mean? NAPS is National Association of Professional Pet Sitters. We're big on education. So we're always got webinars and different things about, on how to be the best in our industry and stay leaders in our industry. So I'm always about educating. I wish I would have found it sooner than I did. And like I said, and I wish I would have started my business as a business, not as a hobby right away.
So what kind of, I know you said webinars and different kind of resources, but like exactly what kind of continuing education does NAPS offer? Like what are some of the topics of the webinars?
So we're doing one actually tonight. Well, tonight for day of
recording.
Yeah. Recording. So when this comes out, it'll be a couple weeks now.
Yeah.
But we're doing one for pet parents. We actually have a pet parent program in NAPS. So we're doing a recording with the chair of the pet parent program, and we're educating the pet parents on like what NAPS can help them with. We had one a month ago or two ago with some people from SCORE and helping us grow our businesses. We have them with social media experts. We have them with business coaches. We have them with different people in the industry that are just to help elevate us and make us better business owners, which I like. We do conferences. We're getting ready to put together our conference. The conference committee is working on it. It's going to be September 25th and 26th this year. It's going to be 2 days. And we're going to have, I believe, 3 or 4 speakers a day. Don't quote me because they haven't told me officially, but I know a little bit. As the president, I got a little bit of it.
I'll have to check out the website.
So we have that coming up, which is always fun. And it's going to be online this year again, which is great. So, we're going to work on, I always go to the conferences just because I like to learn. So that's another way. We have forms with the membership of NAPS. You get all our newsletter comes out quarterly, which is awesome. We have a great editor who works with us and stuff. So we're working on the spring issue right now. We just had the meeting last week for that. So that has great articles in it, like tips and tricks and more information. So that's always fun. We have all kinds of forms, over 80 or 90 forms on our website for business owners to use in their business. They don't cost anything extra. It's part of your membership. All the webinars that we have a whole library of all the webinars that we've been doing. I've been president this is my 4th year. So literally we go back all the 4 years and beyond, and you can listen to any of the webinars. So that's all there for you to read or listen to. We do all kinds of stuff. We do special meetings or webinars. If we get somebody, we have connections. We have partners, great partners. We partner with like Time to Pet, which is a software system. We partner with the Orion Group, which is the Stratford Group. I think that's what they go about. The Orion test is one of the tests that you do when you're hiring somebody to find out whether or not they're going to be a good fit for you, or they're going to steal from you, or they're going to be a bad person. So that's a great resource for us here at NAPS. We partner with Fetch Find, which is an education program, Jamie McDowell's group. So we do that. We work with all kinds of people. Dog TV is one of our partners. So we do that. So we give those resources to all pet parent or pet business owners as a member of NAPS, it's great. It's a great resource.
Yeah, it sounds like it's full of tons of things. You could probably spend hours when you first sign up going through everything. Yeah. So that's like, it sounds like it's a lot about growing your business from like a qualifications or certifications perspective. Are there a lot of certifications that you need that are required to be a pet sitter, or are they kind of optional, and are they expensive if someone's just getting started?
Well, that's not mandated by any state rules or anything that you be certified. But we encourage everybody to be certified. We have a certification. It's It's like 600 questions. It takes, anywhere from 20 to 40 hours. It depends on how fast you can read. There's a lot of reading materials in there. So that's good. And once you become certified, we require that you do CEUs to stay certified. So we do that. And our CEUs are a mixture of education and volunteering. We really encourage everybody to volunteer and give back into their communities and stuff like that. Do food drives, work with a shelter, just make sure you're giving back. I mean, we're all about sharing the love.
I'm a big believer in reaching out when I need help. 45 minutes with an expert can save me hours or even months of work. Do you feel like you hit a wall with what you can figure out on your own? Or do you have an idea that you really need to bounce off someone who gets pet parents? I'm now offering one-on-one coaching to give you the help you need to spend less time working and more time with your pet. These coaching sessions are designed to help you with your marketing, social media strategy, goal setting, and overall vision for the impact you make in the lives of pets and their people. Learn more and book a call with me. All the info can be found at wearwagrepeat.com/courses. And as always, if you have any questions about if this is right for you, just reach out and ask. You know where to find me. So now, okay, I told you, I think before we started that I don't know anything about pet sitting. So I'm learning a lot already. And one question that comes to mind for me as someone who's not really involved in this area is, what's the difference between starting a pet sitting business versus a dog walking business? Is there a lot of overlap, or do you consider them to be really different?
It's kind of like fruit. You got an apple and an orange. They're both fruit, but they're different fruits. So it's kind of the same way. Pet sitting and dog walking, a lot of companies out there, pet sitting companies, are both. They do pet sitting, which means that they take care of people that travel, and they do midday dog walking, and they do cat care and all that stuff. Some people that focus just on midday dog walking, that would just be a dog walking company. So it's all in the same family. It's just what services you offer. So the dog walking companies, I have a student that is in North Carolina, I believe, and she just does midday dog walking. That's her focus, is midday dog walking. She doesn't do any pet sitting or overnight stuff like that, but she's still a pet sitting company. It's just what her services are that they offer. And there's so many different types of services that you can offer in the pet sitting world. I have students that own just cat only businesses, and they don't deal with dogs at all. And I have people that just have dog only business, and they don't deal with cats at all, or small. I know people that have just exotics. So they only deal with reptiles, birds, all that kind of fun stuff. So they just deal with the exotic. Now, mind you, they might take care of a dog or a cat every once in a while, but their main focus is the exotics, which is really cool.
That's very cool.
Different things that you can focus on. It's what you want your life to be and what you want your business to be. And you have to make that decision.
Yeah. And I've also seen people starting to offer, pet transport, to take them to vet, or just pick them up and maybe drop them at daycare or something. I mean, there's so many different things you can do.
Yeah. And the only thing I'm going to say about pet transport is make sure that your city, state, or county, whatever it is, doesn't require that you have a taxi license. A lot of states are now saying that you need to have a taxi license or a transportation license. So that's something that you need to consider when you're going into it. It's not something that you can automatically just start, throwing a dog in the back of your car and taking it somewhere. So those are things that you need to consider when you are going into that. Also, when you start boarding in your home, a lot of counties, states, and I say it that way because each state has got one requirement. A county might have another requirement. A city might have a third requirement. So you have to kind of figure out where you are and what those are. But a lot of the states require that you have a kennel license in order to board at your home. And so you have to get inspected yearly. We have to get inspected yearly at my house, so that through the Department of Agriculture. So to prove that my house is fit to have dogs in it. I did at one point have a doggy daycare, and I had to get approved by them also to board dogs and have a, daycare building and stuff.
Yeah.
So,
that's good. I mean, it seems like a lot of hoops to jump through, but for pet parents, it's a lot of peace of mind that there's some overriding body looking at things.
Correct.
Mhm.
Yeah, it is. I mean, there's some, there's some and there's not. I mean, there's some, but there's not a lot, but there is some. That's why you want to go with a professional. If you're a pet parent, we always tell you to go to our website, which is petsitters.org. And we have Find a Pro. You know what I mean? You want to go with a professional. And
Yeah.
that's important. Now, one of the things you got to take into consideration, you are going to pay more for a professional because we are licensed, we're bonded, we've taken the educations that we need. We run a business, you know what I mean? And a lot of our business owners have employees. So you got to pay minimum wage. And one of the things that a lot of people don't realize when they're like, oh, I just need you to spend the night with Fido. Well, we have to pay these people to sleep, so because that's what the state rules are. So that's why we cost more, because we're running a legitimate and well put together business, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that as people are getting more informed and pet parent culture is becoming more prevalent, they want a professional just like you would for your human child.
Correct. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about something we haven't really touched on is the pet nanny coach. And this is your business coaching that you offer. What is Pet Nanny Coach?
So I am a coach at Pet Nanny. Pet Nanny is owned by Colleen Sedgwick, and she is, I work under her. She is the head coach. She's the leader of our pack. And so we work with businesses, pet sitting businesses that want to grow, either start. So we teach you how to launch and grow a business. We teach you how to multiply so that you become a 6-figure income. And then we have a third program, which is our scholars program, which we work on the continuing education of continually growing and making your business more successful. We have, we work on teaching you like how to automate your business, how to hire, how to, like I said, get clients, different ways of referrals, all that fun stuff. It's a wonderful program. I was coaching this morning, so it's great. It's awesome. So if you're interested in like working with with Colleen or myself, you just go to Pet Nanny Coach and you can sign up and check it out. But Colleen does a lot of webinars. So if you're in our Pet Nanny community, you'll see one of us on the webinars. We do book clubs. Like we have our book club tonight. And
what books on your book club?
We do books on book club, but yeah, so we just read Believe It by Jamie Kern Lima.
Yes. I just saw her speak. She was a speaker at like a virtual conference I went to last summer, and she's awesome.
She's amazing. I loved her book. I liked her before, and I kind of like cyber stalked her a little bit just because I find her inspirational as a female entrepreneur, and started her business in her living room, because she didn't like the makeup that they had for her on camera as a journalist, with her rosacea.
Yeah.
I just love her, and I love her spirit, and her and her husband are amazing. So I just finished that book, but that's what we're talking about tonight. So
cool. And so for people who are listening and don't know who that is, she's the founder of It Cosmetics, which you might have seen around the shops and stuff. Yeah. But she's definitely worth following online because she's really awesome.
She is. I mean, she started her business in her kitchen. I mean, like many of us, we started our business, somewhere on a fluke, as a side hustle or something like that. That's how a lot of us started our businesses. She did the same thing because she wanted a better product. And, and she just sold it a couple of years ago for $1.2 billion. And I'm like, you go, girl. I want to be you.
Yeah, I know. Can we invent like some foundation and concealer for dogs and sell it for $1.2 billion?
Right. Yes. So so that's our book club that we're working on tonight. So that'd be fun. So I'm excited.
Nice. That's awesome. So with the business coaching and everything, it sounds like you help people get started, but it's kind of a lot of the emphasis is on scaling and growing. So what's like one of the most common roadblocks? Maybe it's a mentality or something that kind of prevents people from getting to the next level, whatever that next level might be for them.
Fear. I would say fear. Fear would probably be the first one that I would say. They're afraid to hire. They're afraid to give up control. They're afraid to have somebody else doing what they think that they can do. So I would say fear. And that's anything in most of our lives is fear holds us back from our dreams because we don't realize that once we let that fear go away, we can achieve so many things and we can become so more elevated than we already are because we're giving up the fear. So we're not giving into it and holding ourselves back. We're giving it up to whoever, higher powers, the world, the universe, whatever you want to give it up to, and stepping outside of our comfort zone and growing. And when they start growing and people start realizing that this is really what I want, they look back. A lot of our students our program is about a year long. So that we do. And a lot of them, we tell them when they first start with us, I'm like, write yourself a letter. And we'll open it up in a year and we'll see where you are. I said, because in a year when we, end the program or, move to the next level, you're going to look back and be like, I don't believe that was me. I can't believe that was the person I used to be. I've grown so much. And that's what we hear all the time. It's like, I can't believe how much I've grown. And I got out of my own head, and finally gave up my fear and just moved on. And it's amazing to watch that. And it's amazing to see people that once they stop being afraid to grow and stop being afraid to be the business owners that they want to be and stop being the business that they want or the entrepreneurs that they want, to watch them just flourish. It's like watching a flower bloom. It's beautiful.
Yeah, that gives me tingles. I think a lot of times we think that it's how others are going to judge us or how others are going to think about us is what's stopping us, but it's really like all in our own heads.
It is
most of the time. Mm-hmm.
No, it truly is all in our own head. I really do. And half the time, if we can get out of our own heads, it's amazing what you can see happen.
Yeah. And I think in the pet industry, there's so much opportunity and so much room. Like you said, you found that you could make more money in the pet industry than in the beauty industry or the airline industry or anything else. And it's probably more fulfilling.
It is because no offense. You walk into a house and everybody's always happy to see you. Always happy to see you. There's nobody that's like depressed that you walked in the house. You walk in and everybody's just like, yay, Auntie Jess is here. And the love is amazing. So it's so rewarding.
You've got to walk in sometimes and have to immediately clean up puke though, right?
Yeah, you do. It doesn't matter if they're two-legged children or four-legged children. Everybody gets sick and you always have to, there's gross times in every point of it. So
it's not all rainbows and puppy dogs. There's puke.
There's puke, there's diarrhea, there's, emergencies. There's, one of our board members was sharing on the NAPS or on the NAPS Facebook group, that we have for just the members, that one of her clients' dogs in the male owner likes to golf in the backyard, and I think it was a golden retriever or a lab, but whatever, I think it was a lab, likes to retrieve the golf balls for him, and bring them back. Well, unbeknownst to the owners, he was also retrieving multiples at the same time, but he was swallowing one every time he would do it. He wound up having 20 golf balls in his belly and had to have surgery.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So, and thankfully, the pet sitter caught it and all that fun stuff. But these are like examples of like things that we deal with, the dog comes in. I had an old client that whenever time the owners left, they would get the dog worked up and the dog would eat things. So, and I would get there and then within 24 hours, we're in the emergency room because the last time he ate half a coat, he ate, how when you're working on a treadmill, you have the emergency stop thing that you're supposed to clip to yourself. So that way, if you fall, the treadmill will actually stop.
Yeah.
That he ate a couple of hangers, so yeah, on the third trip, within, 2 years. And I was on my third trip to the emergency room because of the same thing that the vet was yelling at me. And I'm like, I'm just the pet sitter. I'm just bringing him in because I know he's sick, I'm not causing it, So those are things that,
maybe just for Christmas, drop a crate off at their house. Just like hint, hint, hint.
You want to use this when you leave. The thing is that, as a pet sitter, that we experience when we do come into the house. So, you got to know your client and you got to know your client, which our clients are your pets, you pay the bill, but our client is actually the pets, know, so, we have to know our clients, and which that's what we do. We spend time with them and get to know them and love them. They become part of our families.
Well, so speaking of your fur family, tell us about Teddy, your dog, and how he came into your life.
Teddy is my little love. He's upstairs sleeping right now. He is 10. Finally, I can't believe he's my old boy. So Teddy, my old landlord that I used to live, in the city of Chicago, her dad had a litter of puppies on my birthday in 2012. And I was super excited about it. And I wasn't allowed to have pets. And she knew that I just loved her dad's dogs. And it was a mistake that they had a litter. He actually had two. And I was like, we got to get them fixed. And he did. But so I went to go see, her name was going to be Stella. She was an all brown Shih Tzu that I was going to adopt. I thought she was black because I really wanted a black dog. I really am big on black animals just for the one fact that they're so hard to get adopted out and they wind up more in the shelter. So, and I always wear, most of my clothing is black. So I figured it would be perfect.
Perfect. Yes. Makes sense to me.
So I went there to go drop off some blankets because Stella was 6 weeks old. I want to drop off some blankets. So in a couple of weeks when I got to pick her up and bring her home, that way everything smelled like mom and dad and her siblings and stuff to make it easier. But when I went out there and met Stella, which she was adorable. I mean, she was, but there was little Teddy who was born, he was 18 months and he was just wandering around. He hates puppies. I've learned that. So if you ever have a puppy or you adopt an animal and you want to know its true age, if it's under 12 months, my dog will hate it. After 12 months, he likes everybody, but he does not like puppies. So my dog's a really good test on telling you how old your dog is. And I watched him and I just kind of fell in love with him. And his name was Skunk at the time. So that was his first name because he was born. He had a little white patch on his head, which it disappeared, after hair grew in. But that's why they named him Skunk. And I talked to Remy was the gentleman that had the puppies. And I asked him, I said, can I have Skunk instead of Stella? And he's like, And I'm like, maybe not. He was 18 months, like I said at the time. And he was like, you know what? Yeah, you can have him. So I literally scooped him up and took him home that day, which is, it was like 8.5 years ago.
Yeah.
That I got him. I remember the date. It's March 11th. I can tell you the date off the top of my head because my dad had his first heart attack that day. So I literally grabbed.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. My dad had his first heart attack. He will tell you he did not. He will tell you he had an episode. That's what he calls it. But my dad had his first heart attack. So I picked up.
Teddy knew this was like the universe at work.
Well, and this is the cute part. So my parents live up in South Haven, Michigan. So it's about 2.5, 3 hours from here. So I grabbed Teddy, threw him in the car. I mean, I had no food for the dog. His name was Skunk, you know what I mean? And he smelled horrible. He smelled like a skunk too.
Yeah. He didn't know you. You didn't know him.
No, didn't know anything. We literally drove 3 hours together to the hospital, to my parents' house. On the drive up, I was doing this number, kept looking over. I'm going, how about Fred? No. Okay. How about Wilson? No. Okay. How about Henry? Okay. How about Chewy? And I just kept giving names and he just looked at me like, lady, you're crazy.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, well, I got 3 hours to come up with a name and I couldn't, nothing was sticking. And I got to the hospital, checked in with my dad, made sure he was okay. My brother was there. My young niece and nephew at the time were there. And I don't judge me, any parents out there, but the Yahoo in me sent my 5-year-old and 6-year-old niece and nephew out to my car. Don't ask. I'm not sure. To go check on my new dog that I have only had for 4 hours at this point.
Yeah, they're qualified, right?
Yeah. Totally qualified, right? Once again, poor judgment on my part. I'm calling it there. But my niece came back in. I'm pretty sure my sister-in-law went with them. I'm pretty sure of that one. My niece came back to me and she just looked at me and she's like, I love him. He is just a teddy bear. And I'm like, and she goes, he's just my little teddy bear. He's so fluffy, Auntie. Could they call me Aunt Boo? They're like, Aunt Boo, he's just so fluffy and he's just a giant little teddy bear. So my niece named him.
Oh, perfect.
After that, because that was her little teddy bear.
What a good story. I love that. And he truly sounds like he was sent to you on that day as to be your therapy animal.
He was totally, we spent a week up there with my mom and my dad, taking care of my mom and dad. So his first place he knew was my mom and dad's house. He hadn't even been to my house yet. So I didn't know if he would run. I didn't know if, he's never been on a leash with me. I didn't know anything with him. But he was stuck to me from the get-go. I would go out at my mom's house. They have 25 acres out in the middle of nowhere. So I would just let him out and he'd wander. If he lost track of me, he'd come running right back to me. He's been doing that since I got him the day one. He was meant to be mine.
Yeah, it sounds like it. It sounds like it.
he's the best little boy ever. I will never have a good dog like him again. You know how it's your firstborn and your first dog are always your best. And then after that, you always get the one and you're like, what did I do?
Yeah. This is not how I remembered it.
Yeah. I have literally the best little boy ever.
Oh, good. Well, I love that. And thank you so much for your time today. Unfortunately, we've talked ourselves out. We run out of time. So please tell us where people can find you online and where they can learn more about naps.
So you can find me on Facebook, Jessica Abernathy. There's a beautiful picture of me with a mohawk. That's usually what it is. I think I've got a longer hair version. I mean, COVID made me grow my hair out. But Jessica, my Instagram page is just the Chicago girl. So that's my Instagram page. And then you can find Teddy's got his own Facebook page and it's called Amazing Teddy. So you're more than welcome to check him out there. And then naps, you can find us with at petsitters.org. That's where you can find us at naps. And then the Pet Nanny Coach is where we do all our coaching from.
Awesome.
So I'm all over the board.
So many things, so many ways to get to know you. And thank you again for your time, for being on the show today.
No problem. Thank you.
What did you like most about this episode? Find me on Instagram at TMystic and let me know what intrigued you or what questions you have about starting or growing your own dog-inspired business. You can also screenshot this episode and tag me in your stories. I love to see who is listening out there. Some of the best conversations happen after the episode, right? So track me down over on Instagram or join the Wear, Wag, Repeat Labs Facebook group to connect with other dog-obsessed entrepreneurs. And as always, you can find all the links and resources discussed in this episode at wearwagrepeat.com/podcast. See you back here next week.